I always think of two very distinct approaches when it comes to making sparkling Shiraz. The first is that the grape is the primary focus. It's a Shiraz that simply has some effervescence, and therefore it should have all the richness and boldness and texture of a Shiraz. But the second approach is to put the style ahead of the grape variety, and it's to say that the wine is primarily a sparkling, and therefore it should have elegance and subtlety. It should be able to be consumed at the start of a meal or at the very early stages of a meal, and that's certainly the approach we take at Myattsfield. Traditionally, fruit from our sparkling Shiraz, it comes from two vineyard sources. The first is the Kenbrook vineyard over in Pickering Brook, and of course those of you that have subscribed to our Left Field Club would have seen the single barrel Kenbrook table wine Shiraz last year. And the other vineyard we source it from is the Volmer vineyard. Two very, very different vineyards with very, very different flavour profiles. Production of the sparkling Shiraz here at Myattsfield is quite an involved process. The wine is never a single vintage wine, it's always a non-vintage blend of 3 vintages, and the reason we do this is because we want the wine that's been in oak for 3 years to have those very rich, developed, complex characters, and the wine that's been in oak simply for 1 year to have all the simple, lifted, fruit-driven characters. And we feel that by blending these 3 vintages we can get a great layering of flavours and therefore a more complex and complete wine. The dosage for our sparkling Shiraz is quite unique. We typically dosage the sparkling Shiraz considerably higher than some of our white and pink sparklings, and this is because we have more acid and tannin to overcome. So those 2 components give a bitterness or a hardness to the wine, and we add a liqueur to soften those influences. But in our sparkling Shiraz, we actually make or assemble our dosage liqueur using not only a concentrated sugar solution but also some of our vintage port. So some of our vintage port always finds its way into our sparkling Shiraz, and we find that gives our sparkling Shiraz again another layer of complexity. On the nose, the sparkling Shiraz reminds me of Christmas. It's like a big fruit cake, a big fruit bomb, very lifted, very aromatic. On the palate it's creamy and textured, quite soft, and in terms of food matches I think it would wear turkey and any kind of game meats very well.